Grandmother Spider, or How the Sun Came into the World, a stick figure story, illustrated and adapted by K. Ryan Henisey. Once, long ago, when the world was new, there was much confusion, for there was only darkness. Everyone bumped into each other, and there was all sorts of yelling and shouting and fighting, and everyone was upset. One day, Fox said quite loudly, loudly enough for almost all of the people to hear, "The other side of the world has it much better than we do. They have all the light of the sun." "The sun, the sun, the sun," said all of the people, and they asked Fox question after question, and he told them about the light and about the sun. And Possum spoke up and said, "I'll get the sun. I'll bring the sun over here. I have a great, big, bushy tail, and I can go and get the sun in my tail and bring it back, and then we'll have light and we'll all be happy. I know I can do it." And they all cheered him, and they called him a hero, and Possum set off for the other side of the world. And eventually he came there, and he entered into the light, and it was beautiful. And he saw the sun, and he reached his great bushy tail up to grab it, and it was so hot, and he started to pull it towards his side of the world, but it burned away all the beautiful hairs on his tail until all that was left was skin, and it burned the skin, and he had to let go, and ouch, ouch, oh, it was too hot. And Possum returned, and he said, "I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring the sun." And then Buzzard spoke up. "I can do it. I have these great feathers on the top of my head, and I have great and powerful wings. I will bring us the sun, and we will have light, and we will have joy." And all of the people heard him, and they rejoiced, and they called him a hero, and off he went. And Buzzard flew across the world until he came to the other side, and there he entered into the light, and it was glorious. And he flew up to the sun, and he gathered it up in the great feathers atop his head, and he started to drag it back to his side of the world, but it was too hot, and it was too heavy, and it burned away all the feathers until it reached the skin of his head, and it burned him, and ouch! Oh, it was too hard, and he had to let it go, and he returned home. And Grandmother Spider spoke up and said, "I can do it. I can get it." But no one heard her because she was so small, and so the people wept, and they cried, and they bumped into each other, and more confusion continued. Meanwhile, Grandmother Spider built herself a great clay pot. And then she began to weave a delicate but giant web across the whole world, a web so great and so wide and so high that none of the people could see it. And finally, when she was done, she took her clay pot, and she climbed her web, and she crossed the world, and she entered into the light, and it was glorious. And then she snatched the sun up in her clay pot, and she ran back across her web to her side of the world, and she released it into the air, and the world was filled with light, and the people rejoiced, and they saw Grandmother Spider there in the sky, and they called her a hero, and they praised her. And it is because of Grandmother Spider's cunning, and because of Grandmother Spider's ingenuity, that we have daylight on both sides of the world. The end. Thanks for watching. This is K. Ryan Henisey. Be sure to visit kryanhenisey.com for books, stories, art, and more. Thanks for coming.